Okay, I am going to go through the installation procedure for SQL Server. A couple of things that I want to say. One, it is not always going to be the same. Every system will have its own little quirks, so things may not go as smoothly as I hope this one goes. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go online and I'm going to search for SQL Server downloads. So as soon as I can get the mouse over here. So SQL Server downloads. And we'll go to the first thing here. And the thing is that SQL Server Developer is free. And it has all the features of the Enterprise Edition. And that is the version that we want. So I'm going to start the download. Not going to do the survey. Okay, so I'm going to start the download. And I am going to run it. Basically, the first thing it will do is install the installer. So we have to give it permission. Okay, so we want to do the custom edition. And where the media location is fine, so I'm going to do install. And basically, we're still installing the installer. So this isn't super exciting, but hopefully it won't take too long. Doing this on your own system could have some different issues and different effects, particularly when we install the developer tools, the database developer tools. I'll show you that if you already have Visual Studio 2017 installed, then it's a little bit of a different process. I'll probably make a separate video on that. I'm going to try to keep these videos fairly distinct and fairly confined to just one thing. So it's getting there. Don't like the mouse being on the cancel button. So it should open up the installer in just a moment. Okay, so here's the installer. I'm going to move it down if I can. The first parts are to basically go through and describe, make sure that you have the requirements, make sure that you have all the documentation and all of that. We're going to skip that and go straight to the installation. We want a new server standalone installation. And you can also use this to add features to an existing, which we may have to do, but I think we can get it all in one this time. Because this is the developer edition, it doesn't have a product key. We just have the free edition. So I'm going to do next. You have to accept the license or the install is over at that point. So it's running a check to make sure that everything conforms. You can check for updates, but I'm not going to. For the purposes of this class, it's not all that important since this will all go away in 8 weeks. I'm going to do next. And it will go and look for these. Now we have a warning on the firewall, and that's because the firewall is not set up to accept outside contact to the server. No ports are open. They can be opened later. For our purposes, again, we do not need to allow outside access to our SQL server. So the 3 green check marks mean that we can proceed. And this is where we choose the features that we want. We definitely want the database engine. I'm going to put replication in there. In the lab, R and Python did not work, but we do want full text and data quality services. So we don't want the polybase because that will fail. We do want the analysis services, and I'm not sure what we need down here. We need integration services we want. We don't need to scale out. I'm going to give client tools and data quality client. In fact, I'm going to select most of these, although I don't think we really need them. But it never hurts to have more than you need. So I'm going to go next. And basically what it'll do is it'll run those. It'll tell me if there's any errors. Okay, so there weren't any errors. This is going to be a default instance. You can have exactly one default instance on a server. This one, it says MSSQL server, but you can also refer to it as localhost. We need to, there are no installed instances, so we're fine there. So I'm going to do next. All right, these are different services and the accounts that they're running under. And if this were a production environment, it would be a good idea to give separate accounts and separate passwords for each of them. We are just going to let it be, and we're not going to worry about the volume task privilege. So I'm going to do next. Here we need to add a user, and I'm going to add the current user. So whatever your Windows account that you're in, you should probably add it as a user. Again, this is not best practice. Best practice would be to create a special user for the admin. But that means you'd have to log in separately each time you wanted to access the server. So for development and testing, just adding the current user is probably the best. Up above, we have Windows Authentication mode. That means that when you log into Windows, you'll also be logging into SQL Server. There will be a point where we change that to mixed mode, but we'll do it after the installation when we get to security. So I'm going to go next. And I think we want the multi-dimensional data mining mode for the analysis. We will need again to add the current user. I'm going to do next. And this is the distributed relay. We want to do that as the current user. And we do not need to give a controller name. So we're just going to go with the working directories, and then I'm going to do next. And it will give us a final heads up as to what we say we're installing. And then I will install. And this could take a couple of moments. So we'll let it do its thing. They said it could take a while. So I'll just have a cup of coffee while we wait here. Okay, this last part usually goes pretty fast. All right. We should be done here really soon. The green line lies, obviously. It says it's done, but there's still a bit more going. Okay, it's complete. Let's see if we have any errors. There are no errors. Excellent. So we have successfully installed the SQL Server engine. If you have any X's in there, any red X's, you will have to fix the problem and rerun it before you can go forward. All right. So one of the things that we need to do now is install the SQL Server management tools, which includes the Management Studio. So we want to do that really quickly, and it will take us to a web page, and you want to download the SQL Server Management Studio 17.81, and again, you want to run it. It'll take it just a moment to download its installer. So we got like half a minute to go. Okay, so it should launch the installer. This shouldn't come up, but let's try running it. Yes. There we go. All right, so we want to install. This one's actually pretty easy. We just install it as is. Hopefully it won't take more than a minute or two. It usually hangs right here where it's installing the Visual Studio shell. The Management Studio is a Visual Studio shell, so it's actually installing most of the Management Studio right here. Once it's done, it usually races to the end. So it feels like it's going to hang here forever, but it won't. It will eventually move on. I take a nap while this happens. It will move on, I swear. Okay, so it has moved on. Hopefully it'll start speeding up. Okay, it's getting there. So we can close this. We've finished the management studio. Now there are some things that I want to get. I want the resource reporting services. We haven't got it yet, so I'm going to do install SQL Server reporting services. I may regret this, but let's do this. We're going to do that. Select English. And there is all right, so I want to download it. I'm going to run it. And hopefully it won't take too long to install. I'm having this problem again, but I'm going to run anyway. Okay. So here behind everything, install reporting services. It has an evaluation expectation, but you can run it for developer. And if you run it for developer, then it will not expire. So I'm going to do next. I'm going to accept the license terms. I am going to do next. And I'm going to install. And I'm going to say yes. And hopefully this one won't take very long. Nothing like a day spent watching little blue lines move across the screen. After the reporting services, we have one more install, which are the data tools. So it should be done any second. All right. So it's going to want a restart. I am going to close it. We'll do a restart in a little bit. Or maybe we'll do the restart now. So I'll go down and do a restart. Go to power and restart. And we'll reopen the installer from the download folder and do the very last thing, which is the data tools. All right, so I'm going to log back in. Do you like how David named me Stive? Anyway. All right, so I'm going to go to the File Explorer. I'm going to go to Downloads. Shouldn't be empty. Why is Downloads empty? This PC. Downloads. Where else would it have put it? All right, well, there's another way to get to it. I'll do a search and we're going to say SQL Server 2017 Data Tools Download. I'm going to run the recording services real quickly. I'm not sure what that's doing. Let's look at that. Actually, they're fine. I don't know what that's doing. All right, so we want to get the data tools. There's the developer, management, download SQL Server data tools. So here's a description of how to install them with SQL if you have Visual Studio 2017, but we want a standalone. So we're going to get the standalone installer. So I'm not sure. We may have a problem here, but we'll try this. I'm going to run it. All right, I'm going to do next. We want all of these. We do not need the database. I'm going to close that. That actually would be really good for Visual Studio 2017. Let's do the standalone. Let's see what that. I think we might want the 215 one. I'm going to run that. I think that's the actual installer that we want. We don't really need the SQL Server database, but let's go next. I'm going to go back up to the 2017 one. You're only getting a minor bit of the indecision that I had in class. So next, I'll do an install. And we'll say yes, and hopefully it won't take too long. It is possible this will fail, but it is crucial that we have it for our 224 class. Okay, so it's downloaded. Hopefully the installation won't take too long. Everything always takes a little longer than I would like. Come on, do this already. Well, while it's doing that, I want to look at something here. I don't know how long this is going to hang here. This is the last install that we need. And then there's just a little bit of configuration to do, and then we're all set up. There it goes. Boy, that's slow. I have never seen this be so slow, but it is sort of going. Maybe my internet connection isn't doing too well right now. That was a little bit of a leap there. Come on. Okay, it looks promising. Let's go a little farther. Okay. Yay, we did it. That was fun. All right, so we have a couple of little things left to do. One of them is to configure the report server. So I am going down here to Microsoft SQL Server Reporting, and we want Report Server Configuration Manager. And yes, we want to run it. We have our server name and we have the reporting server instance. So I'm going to connect it. I am going to, it says that it's started. That's good. So what we want is to click on database, change database, create a new report server database. We want all of this. So we're just going to say next and next and next and next. And what it'll do is it'll create the reporting databases that we'll need when we actually want to deploy reports. Okay, so we're done and we can close this. All right. And then I'm going to open the SQL Server Management Studio. And what we will do is we will add the two databases that we'll be using, and that will be it for the install. So we're going to connect. Going to look at the databases. The report servers are there. We have no other databases, which is fine. So I'm going to start a new query. And I'm going to go to the browser and I am going to go to GitHub. So on any of these, I'm just going to do github.com and I'm going to do /spconger. So we're going to go to my site. We're going to go to database schema and we are going to open up Community Assist, not the Community Assist 2017, but Community Assist. I am going to go raw. I'm going to copy, select it all and copy it, paste it into that query window. I'm going to execute it. And now when you right click and refresh the databases, we'll have Community Assist. Now I'm going to do one other thing. I am going to go back here, go back, and we'll go back to database schema. And we want to download the Metro Alt zip. So it won't, you can't see it because it's a zip file, but I'm going to download it. And I am going to save it. Okay, so then I'm going to open the folder. I'm going to right click and extract all. And then I want to browse to the path where I want to extract it. So I'm going to go to local disk C, local disk C, program files, Microsoft SQL Server, the last one, MSQL, data, continue, select folder, extract. Okay, this is a list of all the files there. Notice Community Assist that we just added. So I'm going to close this and this. And actually we can close GitHub for right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on databases and choose attach. I'm going to add. I'm going to add Metro Alt. Okay. Okay. And then Metro Alt will also be added to that. The very last thing I'm going to do to Metro Alt is I'm going to change its owner because it was created on my machine, so it doesn't have a proper owner. So under Files, I am going to click the three dots beside owner. I'm going to browse for the owners, and I'm going to click the current computer user, which in this case is Stive. I'm going to do OK, and then OK, and then OK. And now the diagram is available and it has a proper owner. So we are done with the installation of the database, the server tools. I guess we should open the server tools to make sure that they're okay. So I'm going to go down here. There should be a Visual Studio SSDT. Take it a moment to open. I'm not going to sign in, but I will just open it. Blue is fine. I'm going to open this. Okay, so I want to do File New for Projects. And we have under Business Intelligence, there's Analysis Services, Integration Services, and Reporting Services. And those are what we want. So we're fine. I will close that. I'm going to stop the video. So I'm going to get out of full screen mode, catch the and stop.